Hello. This is Dave on the Crafted channel. I was just in a good mood, so I thought I would stream what I was working on here. I've got a new auto seat cover for my Dodge Mega Cab, 2006, and it's really not put together right. So here's the ratty seat cover I'm taking off. This is the flap that's at your left thigh. And this is where the power seat controls come out, and the latch to let the back of the seat lay back. So this is the back, this is the front. And you can see it has these clips, and these clips stretch around and grab places on the frame. And where these clips are, that's the only places on the frame that are available. And the ones in the front and the back are fine, but the ones on the sides are wrong. Over here on this side, you can see the original one has two, and the one that came with the new seat cover only has the one. So I took this to an upholstery shop nearby and showed it to the guy and said, you know, hey, I need this is in the wrong place. I need this seam ripped and this piece of material moved down here and this sewed back together. And I was willing to pay the man to do it. I mean, but he thought I need to go. He thought I need to go get help from an auto parts store and figure out what's the right seat cover I needed to buy. And basically, he just, for whatever reason, he just didn't want to help me. And you know, I just decided, heck, I'll do it myself. I mean, the company gave me $50 off rather than take the seat cover back. It was originally 89 bucks, I think. So I thought, well, for 89 bucks, for 50 bucks off, I think I can get it upholstered. I didn't try to take it anyplace else. I could have possibly taken it to a shoe repair and gotten it done. Anyways, I'm not a professional at upholstery, but I like leather work, and so I have a little bit of sewing equipment here, hand sewing. We can see we have this layer here, which is the actual outer layer of the seat cover. And inside of that is this flap. So this black material here you see is the inside of this flap. And then this outer piece that looks like felt, but it's really very, very tough, is the piece I need to remove. And I need to move this 3 inches back. And we can see on this piece how much closer to this seam the edge of that is. You know, it's set back from here and it's close to this edge down here within an inch. And then here they've got it, you know, about in the opposite position it needs to be in. It's probably just a simple mistake. So I don't want to get this all messed up because, you know, I'm not an expert at any of this stuff. So what I've been doing is I've been going along here and stitching this flap and the outer cover of the seat together. But this row of stitches, I'm leaving out this piece I need to move. And so when I get done stitching down through here, I'll rip out this gray stitching, and all this stuff will be held together, but this will be released. And then I should be able to move this down here. It needs to go about 3 inches down. And I should be able to hand stitch it all back together. And I'm using black leather stitching thread. So the thread doesn't show. So it doesn't matter that it's a different color. But anyways, I just kind of thought I was having fun. I'm sitting outside my garage, and it's a beautiful day in Ohio. I mean, it's like, I don't know what the temperature is out here, but in the sun it feels like it's 70 degrees. And I'm not putting these stitches real close together because really this is just a jig to kind of hold it all together. And my wife, she's a March Madness fan, so she's watching basketball. I couldn't suck her into doing this for me. Would have been nice. Oh, is this too boring? You know, it's real life. But you know, my truck's been broke down basically because I took the seat out of it. And one product that's screwed up is not a prototype. It doesn't mean they're all screwed up. I could have just returned this, I guess, and ordered another one. There's a chance it would have had the same problem. And some of the comments that I read, not all of them, but some of the comments for these aftermarket seat covers, people mentioned things not fitting properly. So I knew when I bought it, I was taking a chance. And in this case, I don't have an option of buying a factory seat cover. I am going to stay slightly above that gray. Oh, that sucker. I actually have a thimble, but I'd have to get up to go get it, and I'm not going to do that. But you know, I need to do this because otherwise this could be taking up space in my garage for years. Waiting on me to get around to it, so I was kind of hoping to get it in today. And indeed I will. But just because you're not expert at something doesn't mean you can't do it. Just got to take your time, and maybe I'm taking some extra steps here that a real pro wouldn't have took. Heck, the guy at the upholstery shop probably could have knocked this out in 25 minutes. And then I'd have made a friend. I'd have had somebody I could go hire to do things when I needed stuff done. Instead, I'm not sure I want to bother going back. And it would have been different if he'd have said, you know what, I'm booked up for a month on furniture I need to finish. I won't be able to fit you in for a while, but instead, just kind of, oh, I think you need to go get some help in an auto parts store. It's just like, that was clumsy, sir. I didn't say that to him. I just said, okay, thank you. And I packed up my stuff and got on out of there. When I went in the place, the front door was a wooden front door. It was about rotted off the hinges. And you wonder how many $30, $40, $50 jobs he passed up. He could have had him a new door. I don't know. I'm trying not to complain. I shouldn't complain. People have a right to work for who they want to work for, not work for who they don't want to work for. That's perfectly fine. Okay. Well, I shouldn't have pulled that through. Well, I don't really have enough. I really don't have enough thread left to tie a knot. Zing it back and forth here a few times. I think if I had enough, I could leave a loop out and come back through it. Let's see if I can not pull that loop in. Okay, I think maybe. Maybe. Put that little loop through that point. Okay, well, there's half a granny knot, right? Okay. Oh, there we go. Now it's pulled tight. I think I'll come through it again here. And cut it off. Awesome. So I asked my wife for a seam ripper. Of course, being a typical guy, I couldn't find it. She only let me look for about 5 minutes, and she comes upstairs, puts her hand right on it. This is her granny's. It's got a little bit of a curve to it. And the surface of this thing looks like it's got little micro cracks in it. I hope it don't break because her granny's long gone. You know what? I could leave those stitches in. I really only need to get this out. You know, and like there's a clue. I could have probably just stitched this together where I was going to do the seam ripping. Now, of course, this gray thread's liable to just pull on out. I'll probably just take it out anyways. Let's see, should I be doing it from this side? Been doing a ton of 3D printing. I must have made, gosh, 40 parts this weekend. There we go. I've had 2 printers running 24 hours a day since about 6 o'clock on Friday. And I got to the end of my list of all the parts I need to run. And as they've been running, I've been post-processing them. So they'll all be ready to ship. And you can see my little clumsy stitch through there. I think their thread's a little heavier than mine. I'll have to look in my leather kit and see if I don't have a little heavier thread. Oh, look at that. Oh, wait a minute. What am I not understanding? Look at that. If I only knew how to sew. Oh, looky here. That's right, because this was sewn in something that had a bobbin. Every time I pull up on this, I pull a little loop out. Oh yeah, this is the easy way to do this. Easier. You know, when you're working on something, you don't have to know that much about it. Just take your time, and as you see obvious opportunities of doing something better, do it better. And notice, you know, I didn't say take a shortcut or cut a corner. That's just efficiency there. Let's see here. This is one of those videos with really high production values. You know, I don't know about you guys, but a lot of times I'll be working on something like this. I'll sit and listen to other channels, and once in a while I might look, but I'll mostly be listening. And some channels are better for listening than others. Like I'm watching Vintage Machinery, Keith Rucker. I want to be where I can see the screen because he'll be doing things I want to look at. But other things, maybe you don't need to see the screen. I've kind of enjoyed lately this channel called Mentor Pilot. And it's Mentor, Mentor Pilot. And I'm not sure what his accent is. He could be, he's European, I think, or of European descent anyways. but he'll go over crash scene investigations and a lot of these things, airplane crash scenes, or just airplane emergencies. You know, anything that the FAA came in to investigate. And he doesn't cover anything speculative like anything current in the news, but he'll go over one from history. Could be a year ago, could be 20 years ago, and you probably remember hearing about it. And it's just neat hearing all the facts of the case from a pilot who understands, you know, the challenges of the pilot. And, you know, the guy's obviously an airline pilot. He understands how a lot of these aircraft, the different procedures that are required for them to operate safely, and etc. And that's a good one to listen to. Now, if you watch him, he's got illustrations and things to help you understand things, but it's still pretty interesting to listen to. And a lot of them are heroic stories where pilots, with very limited information about what was wrong with the airplane, they followed their manuals and good procedures and good gut instinct, and got everybody on the ground alive. And I kind of like stories like that. I kind of like the hero's journey or the hero's stories. We get so much negative information nowadays from people, and sometimes maybe I've been guilty of spreading it around. Get all in an uproar over what's happening in society. And there's plenty to be upset about, but yeah, it's nice to hear about victories and good stuff sometimes too. Okay, so what's going on? I'm at the end of this. Where's that other thread going? Okay, well, you know what? I don't have any desire for that to fall out. I'm sure this fun video will be one of my videos that gets 79 views in the next 6 months. Well, that's not a knot, that's a bow, you dummy. Okay, well, I just don't want strings falling out and bugging me. Maybe that'll keep that stuff from getting in the way. Ta-da! Okay. So that was here. If I can move it to there. Yeah, it's parts really the same. Just wasn't in a good spot. And I'm going to step away for just a moment here. I'm going to see if I got a little heavier thread than this black spool. So for a guy that says he can't sew, I sure do have a lot of here, but this is mostly for making sheaths and stuff like that. Well, that thread's pretty daggone. Oh, there's what I'm looking for. That's some pretty tough braided thread. Too bad I don't have gray. I got 2 of these toolboxes full of everything leather making. I used to really enjoy that. Got away from it. Yeah, this is probably 5 times the thread that was in this thing. If you ever get a chance to visit a leather shop, I don't know how many Tandy leathers there are around, and I'm sure they probably do still exist, but there's a place called, I think it's Langerways or Longerways in Indianapolis near the football stadium. And they, great big place, and they mostly serve cobblers, people who repair shoes. And it's got 2 floors of stuff you can go look at. But if you want to get like heavy sail needles and things like that, that's the place to go. They've got them. There we go. This is a waxed thread, so it should stay in there fairly sticky. If you know where enough stuff is, where to get it, you can make anything. And you got enough time. Here's some needles I've collected over the years. I think I'm gonna need a little bigger needle for this. Something with a bigger eyelet. And there's different qualities of needles too. I don't know if these are my good ones or not. These are probably import. Ooh, wait a minute. See, here's something I got from the Indianapolis from Longerways. I bet you these are needles. These would be good ones. You know, I bet you that's big enough. So I found, I hope I don't get proven wrong here, but like the cheap Chinese import needles, they're a good simulation of a needle, but they're really brittle. They're easily broken, and you'll cut your thread inside the eye very easily on them because I guess that area, they leave burrs in there, or it's just not polished, or whatever the reason is. For a long time, one of my highest viewed YouTube videos was making a stitching pony. I don't remember how many views that thing got, but it was a ton. I haven't seen a comment on it in a while. I've got a garage door insulating. It was also an early one. I wanted to make my garage so I could use it to work on and work projects in. And so first thing I had to do was insulate the garage door. That got mega views for me, for a little guy. Then I did one on replacing a hub on a front wheel bearing on my truck, where I had to use a hydraulic system to get it out. Okay. Well, we should be able to do this whole thing. How many of you nod off and fall asleep? Probably nobody watching right now. I don't know. I'm not looking at anything where I can see if anybody's watching live. I suspect there is nobody. Yeah. I think I'm going to start down here. I'll try to stitch through these. Man, I'm going to need some pliers. I need my thimble. There you go. A man with a thimble. Ah. Yeah, this needle's a little fatter. Now notice I started inside this. I'm going to call it felt. It's really something a lot tougher, but I started inside of it. I'm going to go outside of it now. down in that gray stitch. Yeah, this little, big old fat needle's a little harder to work with. I was able to push that through without the thimble. Maybe not. Put that needle through there. There we go. This thread will outlast the truck, I can tell you that. Are you still watching this video? I probably would have moved on a long time ago if I were you. Probably would have. Man, I wish I had a little clamp. Guess if I had another needle and thread, I could just put a stitch in it, couldn't I? I don't want to get these stitches too far apart. Black on black, it's probably hard to see anything. I'll tell you another cool video I watched recently. I believe the title is something like A Year Alone in a Ghost Town. And it's this young guy who's actually an investment banker, or used to be. And he took the money he made, and for something a little over $1 million, he bought a ghost town out west somewhere, which is an abandoned silver mine. Well, I'm not stitching very straight. So for all the flaws in this, I think I can blame the upholstery guy that didn't want to do my work for me. Because it'd have been better, I'm sure, if he'd have thought it was worth his time to do. But yeah, this guy's got a dream of rebuilding this ghost town. I think, and making it a, I don't know, kind of a small group attraction location. He's got a dream of finding an antique set of Levi's, which I looked that up. The very earliest Levi's that they made, there's been some sold for as much as $500,000. So that would probably fund the rest of his project. But man, this guy's climbing around in these old, I don't know how old the mines are, 100 years or something, searching them. And I guess he's got a map of all the different tunnels and stuff in the area from the mining company. And there's a big mess of them he hasn't been able to get into yet. And you see these places he's crawling in underground. He is out of his friggin' mind. I don't know that I'm going to watch his channel regularly, but I watched this guy. This guy did train hopping. I don't remember this guy's name. It's been months ago. And this guy lived to hop trains and travel around and do videos about it. And all of a sudden you get to the end and there's no more videos, and you start reading and, oh yeah, he got killed by a train. You know, I'm sure it's a tragedy for the people that knew him and all that, but it's just like, man, certain activities have big risks. Yeah, this '06 truck, it's getting kind of rusty. When you look at what a new diesel truck costs, I probably couldn't touch a new one for less than 55,000. Just ridiculous money. You start to think, man, should I be putting money into this truck to make it last longer? I mean, you know, like if I could get all the body work and rust repair done for 10 grand, would it be worth it? You know, in other words, could I dodge buying a new truck for 10 years, 20 years? Probably not 20 years, but maybe I could dodge it for 10 years. And 10 grand, you know, that'd be like $1,000 a year to have a truck you weren't ashamed of. Probably I would find out I couldn't get it done for that. Used to be when I was a kid growing up, so many more vehicles had body work and stuff done on them. And it wasn't uncommon for a vehicle to get, you know, rust repair and painted at least one time before it ended up in the junkyard. But today that seems like a pretty uncommon thing. They're only going to get repaired if they're in a wreck and insured. Last body repair we had done, stupidest thing ever. I'm not going to tell the whole story, but suffice to say I had too many vehicles in the driveway for a couple of weeks. And my wife's got a Subaru Forester. And I had this rental truck in front of it on the side. And for whatever dumb reason, I came out at night, started that truck up, and I put it in reverse, and it only had about 3 feet to roll. I mean, I never touched the gas or anything. And I rolled right into the junction between the two side doors, and just kind of puckered the joint between the two doors in a little bit. But it was enough that it couldn't really be repaired. Had to replace the doors. Had to repaint that side of the vehicle. And I want to say the repair bill was about $6,000. It's like, holy cow. And on that insurance, I've got a $500 deductible, but still, that's a load of dough. There's my dog. Wow, I don't like how that's coming through there. suits me better. Wow, how much? I wonder if they make a machine that would do this. What did I do there? Went in the wrong order, didn't I? In the wrong direction. See, I've been doing this too long. Already starting to foul up. You couldn't do that with ordinary thread. I wonder how many comments I'm going to get on this video telling me how incompetent I am, even though I said this is not what I do. That's a funny thing. You ever listen closely to the language of these YouTubers? Some things that people say don't mean what they seem to say. When they say, this is what works for me, what they mean is, I don't care how you do it. I don't want to be told that I'm doing it wrong. I'm telling you what works for me. That's kind of a funny thing. It's interesting to read between the lines of what people say. Oh yeah, so this seat, this piece of upholstery that I bought was 78 bucks, 89 bucks, something like that. It's 89. And the replacement foam was 45 or 50. Well, you know, I'm sitting on the metal seat frame on my left hip. The seat's so wore out, I think I got all the miles out of that seat it was possible to get. And you can see it's all rotten and messed up. Well, the seat back, which is bigger, a little bit bigger, maybe 3 or 4 inches taller, the cover, $178. And the foam, that is, gosh, I want to say it's about $150. And my foam isn't so bad on the back. I think I am going to replace the seat back, but I'm just going to replace the upholstery. Maybe I'll steal a little bit of this old foam and try to weave it in there, glue it in there somehow, and get the little area that needs about a ½ inch of thickness added to it. You know, maybe this big. You know, if the pad was $40 or $50, I'd just buy the pad and be done with it. But so this was the biggest part of this job. This is probably all I'll film of it, but on the other side, The original one has 2 hooks. Oops, I did it again. Cannot work and talk. But on the other side, I think I'm going to take the, oops, what am I doing? It's only got one of the hooks on it. I'm just going to take the one off of the old seat and marry it on to the existing cloth and fix it that way. That way I've got mostly new material. Wow. It just doesn't want to pull back through there. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to just do it right to begin with, huh? There it is. Okay. Oh yeah, something else that's been on my mind. You got this app called TikTok out there. Man, don't put that stuff on your phone and your computer. That company is owned by the CCP. You know, you put their software on your stuff. You never know what's going to happen in the future. You don't want to be connected. You don't want to be doing business with a foreign government, I guess is what I want to say. That's probably not a good idea. And I've been noticing I've been getting all these offers from Chinese companies to use their cloud services. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give some Communist Party in a foreign country access to my data, access to my 3D printing files, access to, you know, I mean, you let them in your computer, they might have your who knows what they might want to get out of your computer. I mean, the world's dangerous enough without giving those people access to your kingdom. And it's not the people. Chinese people are beautiful people. It's the philosophy. It's the government. You know. And another thing, I'm getting offers all the time now for Google financial services, Google banking, Google card, whatever they call it. And you know, you could be accused of something you said meaning something that you didn't mean it to mean. You know, they've ruined people's lives. They've erased people from the internet. And you know what? They're running out of hated people to erase. They're starting to erase all kinds of people. And you're gonna put all your finances and all your trust in a company like that. They could just decide for whatever reason you shouldn't get to participate in normal commerce and communication with other people. I think you're out of your mind if you support that kind of stuff. I'd like to see some of these states. Cancel them. just say, well, you know, if you've got anybody that's canceled, no, we're not going to do business. You're not going to do business in our place either. That's all we need to have happen, is have the world develop to where you can't buy a gallon of milk until you've pledged allegiance to some group, paid somebody lip service. Kind of ugly, if you ask me. Kind of ugly that anybody would seek to benefit from hurting somebody else, to tell you the truth. But they're out there. They celebrate it. So what do you think? You think this is going to hold together or fall apart? You can vote in the comments. Oops, I went to the wrong side again. I know I'm slow as molasses. But you know what? If I have enough time and patience, I can do anything. I can figure anything out, and so can you. This was the worst part of this project. I put it off too. You know, sometimes the hardest thing about any project is just getting started. It was just so nice today, and I thought, man, it was really nice yesterday. I thought, man, I should just do it. I should just get out there and do it. Man, the sun's shining on the back of my neck. And it's just like, wow. It's good to be alive. Good to be on God's green earth. Yeah. Gosh, I haven't jabbed myself yet. There we go. I'm going to go up here to at least where I tied off that other stitching. I wonder if they make thimbles that have a little curled cup on the side, because it almost seems like it'd be good to push like that. Too lazy to cock my finger back that far, I guess. So if any of that, I wonder if that thread doesn't show through. If it did, I would just tell people, oh man, that was custom made. Boy, something about that needle. Really a leather needle. They're not real sharp on the tip, because normally you punch those holes ahead of time. Well, put a little labor into this. I get $50 off my ridiculously priced seat back I'm going to have to buy. Whoa, what's going on? Oh man, that stitch is way out of position. Look at that, that's showing. I bet you I can unscrew it. pulling the right one. That's the right one. Okay, that went right through. And pull through this one too. Boy, everything I did, if I didn't have to do anything over, it'd take half the time. Oh, that's the needle. What's the needle? The needle is that one. And that one's this. These two. Come on, Dave. I bet nobody will watch this nonsense this far. There we go. Okay. That's better. Heard a Harley start up in the distance. Man, I'm surprised I ain't seen 20 bikes go by already. I think all those guys got surprised by this weather. They're probably charging their batteries and ordering JP cycle, doing everything they said they were going to do this winter just before they got a ride in the spring. I like people to do that. I'm almost there. Well, get up here to the end. And let's see, I get under one of these threads. Oh, here comes the wind. Well, there we go. I think I'll run that through to the other side just for good measure. Tie it in a knot under one of these. Call it a day. Now this is kind of a semi-wax thread. They don't untie too easy. Here, I'll cut it up here. Well, Granny's seam ripper worked. Old leather working tools saved me. I think I'm gonna call it there. I got this looking substantially the same now. So I think I can have it clipped on my left thigh. And next thing I'm going to do, off camera because it's so exciting, this is the new one here, and this is the old one. I think I'm going to take this and just cut it off here and sew it to the flap over here so that this has the right number of clamps on it as well. Then I won't have to worry about my seat not holding down properly. So there we go. It's been Dave on the Crafted channel. It's been fun. It's been real. I don't know if it's been real fun, but there you go.